everybody, and welcome to For the Fans, where we are here tonight to recap Wednesday, Thursday, and every day of the Big Brother week we just had. It's been a really, really hilarious, strange, confusing, complex, higher end competition. It's been a weird season. My name is Sheldon, coming here with Kylie. Kylie, how you doing?
Wonderful. So excited to talk about this week and talk about Chelsea's HOA train and what we think of it.
Yeah. So coming off this week, we're 2 weeks into the season. Any overall first thoughts? Like, what comes to your mind when you think about the first 2 weeks of the season?
So me and CJ kind of talked about it Monday. I think that I personally am enjoying Angela's terror reign. Like, I like kind of like the old school BB vibes of like you've got someone that just actually hates another person. And I know that like not everyone shares my opinion. I don't think she's necessarily crossed a line. She's like towing it. So, it's a game where you have to get under people's skin. And, it could even possibly be some of Angela's strategy. Like, hey, look at me. I'm this crazy person. Like, I'm not ever going to win. Do I think it's a great strategy? No, but I'm enjoying watching it as a viewer. So I have enjoyed the little bit of chaos, and I'm hoping that we maybe get another week or two of kind of some crazy antics, and that it's going to set us up for a really fun jury phase.
Look, I have to admit, like I agree with everything except for the fact that when you talked about Angela not crossing the line, I believe she did cross the line. We'll get there in a bit. What I have enjoyed about this season is thus far is that, yeah, it has been fun and entertaining because of Angela. But at the same time, I see a lot of gameplay that I don't think we're probably seeing on the feeds, but it feels like there is a lot of stuff going on under the surface that will potentially set us up for a really fantastic season once Angela is gone. And she will leave in a week or two, however long it will take. She will not be there. But I think we have a good season ahead.
Yeah, I think so. And I think what makes this season a lot different from a lot of others is that it does seem very fluid, and that none of the two HOHs have like really locked down this dynamic house structure. Whereas, like, oh, well, I kind of have this Pentagon thing going, but then, not like just nailing it home. And so I think there's so many little groupings all throughout the house that it is setting up to be interesting in a few weeks' time. But right now, it's all of the focus for the first 2 weeks has been around Angela and Lisa, Angela and Matt, Angela and Kenny, Angela and Quinn. You know what I mean? Angela is definitely the nucleus.
So I guess we should get right into this and ask the first top thing of the week. And what the heck is wrong with Angela 3.0? And yeah, you really did list it. There are these relationships. There are these outbursts. I think there are these emotions. We had potentially what somebody would call bullying from Lisa, which I would probably agree with, to be honest. Mockery at the least, and making fun of, probably bullying. We saw a moment where T-Core brought up some level of race, even though in truth I don't actually believe she was pointing them out because of their race. I think she was pointing them out because that's a solid group that I really want to work with. We saw this Kenny stuff going on. Then I just saw something on Twitter of her and Kenny flirting today. Like what could you explain what and who Angela is? What the heck is this woman?
She is a ball of something. I mean, okay, so here's the thing. For me, I think, okay, let's talk about Lisa. So Lisa does a lot of very outright annoying things, like the bouncing of the medicine ball in the middle of the kitchen. Like she was sitting up on the countertops with her dirty ass feet, putting glitter on everybody's stuff. She was spraying people's pillows with moon water. Like, there are things that I absolutely would not be able to live with Lisa. Lisa is just not someone that I personally without meeting her. I am judging a TV character. But judging from what I have seen of Lisa, I don't think I personally would connect with her. And so here's where I have a problem. Yes, Angela might have been mean to Lisa, no doubt about it, mocking her, calling her a twit, whatever. At least she did it to her face because everybody else was talking shit about Lisa behind her back. So, like, at least Angela has the balls to to tell her to her face, like, I don't like you. I don't like how you walk. Wipe that stupid smirk off your face. I can appreciate that where it's direct. Like, Lisa did not leave that house thinking, what the heck? Like, why would Angela have, treated me this way? She knew what it was with Angela, and she kind of brought a little bit of on herself whenever she tells Angela, like, I don't want to be associated with you in this house or outside of it. Well, I mean, what is Angela going to do? I mean, personally, I would not handle this situation the same. However,
so what would you do?
They are making a television show.
Yeah, they're making a television show, but when you're in the house, I think, I don't know, if I would be in the house, I wouldn't be thinking about making a television show. In truth, I would be thinking about how do I get to the end and win this game. And the way you do it is bite your tongue, shut your mouth, and when you need to get rid of her, you get rid of her. And now is not the time.
Yes and no. I mean, yes, that is how you get to the end and probably win money. I don't think we've ever seen outside of Rachel Riley, a Big Brother winner be kind of this big bubbling personality. But then whenever you think about the, greats of Big Brother, the people that you enjoy watching, it is people like Angela. And maybe Angela doesn't quite bring some of the luster that like a Janelle does or something like that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
We have seen way, way worse things in terms of bullying. Like, to me, Taylor was bullied.
Yeah.
Lisa was made fun of a little bit, but and once again, it wasn't necessarily in Lisa's personality to clap back at Angela, but excuse my language, but if I'm walking through somewhere and she calls me a twit, I'm going to call her a twat. Like, what? I'm going to go there because you went there, sis, and I'm going to do it bigger and better than you did it. And so, or I'm going to be like, okay, bitch, you know what I mean? Twit in the big scheme of things, that sent her to cry in a corner. I mean, that is Lisa's personality, and it is probably just best for her to be out of the house because she is someone that goes off of, being zen and vibes, and that is her personality. And so she probably doesn't handle that very well.
Well, I have to say that truth be told, based on everything you're saying, I saw a very different version of Lisa than you saw watching feeds and watching the Twitter, because the Lisa I saw was a little kooky. But I didn't see feet on the table. I saw a little sprinkling of fairy dust everywhere, but whatever, who cares? And, I think to me, that was the biggest issue with last night. It did seemingly come out of nowhere because the way the show was edited, it was an Angela full go home. And then we saw Lisa completely blindsided. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think that Lisa has a malicious bone in her body. And so when she's doing the things that are annoying people, I think it is just, unfortunately, her personality. Yeah, and I mean, that is part of what makes Big Brother and Survivor and these social games interesting, is because you are putting different personalities in a house where they can't escape each other. And Lisa, unfortunately for her game, had a personality that just kind of rubbed people the wrong way in the house. And so I think she's probably an extremely nice and sweet person, doesn't have anything, mean, malicious in her. And Angela is a firecracker.
One of the other things, sorry.
Okay, one of the other things is
sorry, I was about to die. One of the other things that we saw this week was Angela versus Quinn. Where there was this sort of a Quinn going around telling on Angela, pointing out what she said, and at the end it ended up that Quinn didn't vote her out.
Yeah, okay, so this is interesting. We don't talk about the veto episode, we don't have a separate show for the veto episode. So once again, like, I'm not an Angela defender. Like, I don't particularly, I could take her or leave her. Like, I think she's been entertaining, but I can also see where it's just time for her to move along and let's get to the core of what Big Brother is. But even though he's my winner pick, like, I think I left that scene most cringy at Quinn for him to be like, yeah, like there was this thing of like, I did kind of want it to like blow back on Angela. So like, like he's giggling in the DR, like, yeah, I wanted this to have blowback. And to me, something like that, where it involves a very, very hot topic in our world today, is completely off limits. And so to me, he crossed a line way more than Angela did.
That's interesting, because I'm not sure he thought about it from a racial perspective, just like I don't think Angela thought about it from a racial perspective. It was
and if Quinn didn't, then I retract my statement.
But
if he
I think
with that in mind, then it's over the line.
But I have to say, my point of bringing it up is actually to make a comment on Quinn. It seems to me as though he's doing too much, too soon, too fast, and he needs to shut up. He needs to walk away. And to some extent, I think he is personable and likable enough to actually position himself very well in this game. But I really believe the only person that's going to screw him up is himself, because he's in everybody's ear. He's in the Pentagon. He has this real thing evidently with Chemo and with T-Core. He has a final two with Angela. Like he's with everybody. He was clearly very close with Joseph by going up to Angela and telling her the information. Like it feels like he's got his foot in everybody's swimming pool, and he only has 2 feet. He can't have 16. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. So that's how I feel about like the situation from the Wednesday episode is, I don't want to read into anybody's intention because only they can speak on that, except that it's a very hot topic issue. And, if Quinn did it maliciously for that, to me, that's way, way over the line, because that is where you get into like, someone's actual like, career outside of the house. Like it has real world ramifications. Angela already has things she is going to have to answer for in the real world. Like, I mean, while it's entertaining to watch, like I would be embarrassed if she were my mom or if she was my grandma. Like, I don't want to see my mom or my grandma act like that. But I can watch somebody else's mom and grandma act like that.
We're going to talk about the AI arena in a second, but before we do that, in the veto episode, we saw who won the veto, Kylie? Kenny won the veto, took himself off the block, and Chelsea went ahead and put up Tucker. Why? Because Tucker said, I'm going to destroy the AI arena, and I know that I'm going to be fine. I know that everything's okay. Good move by Kenny, bad move by Kenny. Tucker, yeah.
So, I mean, I think it is okay. I think it is an okay move a little bit. So much of it is he wanted to be the one to either beat Lisa and make her stay on the block and be the one that sits next to her if Angela were to have won, or he wanted to be the one that ensured that she was there by winning it himself. So, he did it out of the vindictiveness of his hatred towards Lisa. And so I don't necessarily think it's a terrible play, like from that perspective, but we have seen where people that volunteer to be a pawn, once you've volunteered once, it's easy to make you be the pawn again. Like, okay, well, Tucker's already been up there, so I'm just going to use him as my pawn. Because I don't think it would be, we are not going to get into spoilers in this episode. We're going to leave that for the 5 p.m.ers on Monday. But, as speaking as someone who does know who is on the block, but I don't think anyone would be shocked if 2 of the nominees this week are Angela and Kenny. And so, you know what I mean? Like, you've already got those 2 locked in. And if they're just like, okay, well, we don't care which one goes home this week, Angela or Kenny, and we need another person to be a pawn, like, it's going to be easy for it to be Tucker because you've already done it once. So do you just want to be the pawn again?
Yeah.
And at a certain point, once Angela and Kenny are gone, or let's say something happens and Angela wins AI Arena or veto, well, now all of a sudden you've kind of lost your shield there, because what if there's not another person that's easy to be put up there?
I also like, one of the other parts about being an HOH is you're safe for the week, but your actions create ramifications for future weeks. So I think from a Tucker perspective, yes, I completely agree with you, but he lost the opportunity for Chelsea to get blood on her hands by having to renom somebody that she never wanted to. That, especially in a season where in a week, it is actually possible that the HOH has to nominate not 2, not 3, but actually 4 people in a week. 4 people out of a house of 15. You're nominating a third, almost a fourth of the house.
4 out of 14, because
Right.
you're not nominating yourself.
Exactly. And so I think that is what didn't make sense to me from a Tucker perspective. Why? Like, it's not like they're in some crazy alliance and they're close.
Yeah, unless you are like in super tight with Chelsea.
Which he's not, clearly. Yes, he's going to create a really nice precedent for himself to be on the block, but he's also creating this inability for Chelsea to put blood on her hands. We didn't actually see Chelsea work at all this week.
No, easiest HOH ever.
Fantastic.
Yeah. No, that's a really, really great point. And, but well, I guess we'll talk about different scenarios for future, you know what I mean? But you've created the precedent that you're easy to be put up on the block as a pawn. And whenever there was 3 kind of consensus house targets, Kenny, Angela, and Lisa, it was easy. But, in the scenario that Tucker were to get put up on the block this week, like, what if Angela were to win veto and Kenny wins AI Arena? Like, all of a sudden now, like, what? You know what I mean? You may go home. Like, you're a good looking physical man.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know.
So, I personally am not ever going to volunteer for the block. None. I don't want to be there.
But look, Kylie, I don't know if I was in that house and I see Tucker on the block, and if I'm not severely aligned with him, how I wouldn't vote him out.
Right.
Like, I don't understand why I wouldn't. Like, I guess maybe because the comps have been so equal and equitable that maybe it actually doesn't matter. But I would assume at some point I'm going to be standing up against the wall trying not to fall, and Tucker will have a huge advantage against me. So yeah. I don't know. It just seems silly.
Yeah, like, I'm going to take a shot at Tucker. Why not? It's an easy, if he's there, easy pickings.
So we get into last night's episode, starting with the AI Arena. We've got Lisa, we've got Tucker, we've got Angela, all on the block. They go into their AI Arena. Again, another equitable comp. It's very simply a layered puzzle. And, landslide win by Tucker. It looked like Lisa and Angela couldn't even put 1 or 2 pieces in, either of them. He just finished it off. Great win. I don't know if it's a testament to his puzzle abilities or the opposite of Lisa and Angela. Yeah.
I mean, very dominant win. And maybe that, I guess the good news for Tucker is the house guests don't get to see it, because if I'm, like Angela, I'm going to walk out and be like, damn, Tucker finished the puzzle before we even got a piece on the board. Like, he is a threat, like, I would definitely be painting a target on him for that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And what do you think about that? What do you think about the fact that the house guests don't get to see the competition?
So, in theory, I think I like the 3 nominees in the AI Arena, but so far in execution, it's just not quite hitting for me.
What did you expect?
Well, it's not even necessarily what I expected, because this is probably what I do expect for Big Brother to not quite be able to pull it off where it's like seamless. It's awkward in the episode. It's awkward for them to like stand at the top of the stairs. Like, for it to be a surprise for everybody. I guess that they want it to be a surprise so that in their, time to scramble or whatever, it's, fresh, like they have just learned this news. But in reality, these people have had a whole week. They have gone through plan A, plan B, and plan C. If Tucker comes off the block, what are we going to do? Angela's off the block, Lisa's off the block. What's the plan? Nobody's mind is going to be swayed in 1 or 2 minute scramble. This isn't a double eviction where they don't know who the nominees are. Like, we need to just completely get rid of that scramble time. Like, that's fine if they want to announce it and not let the house guests watch the competition. But then it needs to be, okay, they just completed the AI arena and the winner is Tucker. Okay, Angela, Lisa, go take your seats and, we're going into speeches. It needs to just be automatic.
So I completely agree with you. I think they were truly trying to replicate the scramble and the craziness of a double eviction through this twist. But as you said, when you have a week to figure out, well, if this happens, this is what we do, I think you eliminate that.
Yeah.
Part of me wonders if it would be just far more interesting if they would just do a vote with 3 people on the block as opposed to 2 people on the block.
I don't think so. I mean, I think
the reason I say that is that then there's interesting vote splitting abilities. But
it's not Survivor. Like, they're not going to, if you have it, well, never mind. I just went through like 10 thoughts in my mind right then. It's not Survivor. They're not going to split votes. Like, nothing interesting voting wise is really going to happen. Like, we haven't seen anything interesting vote wise happen since JC and BB20. There's very, very few people that cast rogue votes. Like, it's very boring. And so
I wonder if there is,
I don't think a third person is going to make that any different.
So may I ask, maybe there is like, maybe the solution to this is the person who wins AI Arena is also the person who wins Veto. And that happens that night of. So they take themselves off of the block and somebody else has to go up. Because the truth is, we love double evictions, not because 2 people go home, but because it's a rush. We don't know in a very short period of time who's going to win the veto, who's going to win HOH. Like, I think replicating that fear factor, that adrenaline, that's entertaining.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, it doesn't all add up with this concept.
Yeah. And, the more I think about it, like, even having 3 people up on the block, I think that takes away any spontaneity, probably even less, because, like, oh, well, I don't want to screw up and, like, throw a vote on to Tucker and somebody else get the same idea and we're stuck with Lisa for another week. You know what I mean? So I don't think that I want 3 people on the block. Big Brother is just not the game to have fun, interesting votes. It just doesn't happen, Do you have any other thoughts on AI Arena? Because we can go into the actual vote for yesterday, because
100%.
Because I can kind of tie this together is, we got a true, genuine blindside. Like, Lisa was shooketh that this has just happened to her.
And so was Angela.
Yeah, and so was Angela. But, it's a little bit puzzling to me why all of these people go in to vote. And, I don't know why I'm doing this, Quinn says, but I'm voting out Lisa. And you had probably like 3 or 4 people that said that, like, that it's not best for their game. And I can understand if, okay, like, it's just not going to happen. The votes aren't there. But you do not have to vote with the house. Nobody knows unless, it's obvious, like you're Lisa or something. Yeah. But it's okay to throw rogue votes. It's very fun to do, actually. Yeah, it's fun for us to get to watch it. And it's fun if you're a player.
And I don't really understand. So we're going to talk about the specific decision of why Lisa in a second. But there is a strategic benefit of making votes that are uncertain, particularly if you are a good liar. Yeah. Particularly if you're really good at this game, because you could easily move the blame or move a target on somebody completely different.
And it typically has to be like, okay, if like I'm Chelsea and like I've got this really solid thing with Cedric and Cam. And if Cedric or Cam is on the block, it would be extremely fun and extremely smart if Chelsea throws a vote on one of them, because they're going to be like, who the hell did that? And they're never ever going to expect Chelsea. And so, if you know that someone is genuinely safe, go for it.
Yeah. So let's talk about the why. Based on the edit of this episode, I thought Angela was going home. It seemed like the only one that wanted Lisa gone was Sheffy Tucker. What the hell happened? Why does I understand that Lisa's annoying? I understand, or at least there's a perception that she's annoying.
Here's the thing.
I understand that they think she's a bigger competition threat than Angela. I don't get it from the perspective of I do not want a loudmouth wild card like Angela in the game with me. That's not a variable I can control. I know what Angela is going to do, even if it's against me. But if Angela could flip on Quinn in a second, if Angela could go after everybody, I don't want that around me.
So 2 thoughts on that. One, I think also what played into it is really until like Wednesday night, people were believing that Lisa had the power. So she's annoying. She's, shown that she can win a comp, and she may have a power. Like, let's get her out of this house. So I think that is, and then, just all of her intricacies were bothering people. But then I think that part of the problem with the AI arena, which, like I said, I think that I like it, but then also I've only criticized it. So maybe I don't. It's going to be very, very hard for Quinn to be like, okay, in the scenario that Angela doesn't go home, I need to get her out of this house. And to campaign that hard against somebody when you don't know until the last possible minute if they're going to go home. So if you see the tides of the house going towards Lisa, you're not going to do anything to do something different. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to say, okay, well, if Lisa comes off, let's get Angela out. But it's hard to necessarily shift that target, even if it's best for you, if you don't know that that person is going to be on the block to vote out.
So I do. So, okay. So let me ask the other question. Why did Angela not expose Quinn's secret?
I don't know, because I was waiting for it last night. Like, come on, sis, you have done so many fun and entertaining things. I wanted it to almost be like a live tribal at a Big Brother eviction. Like, I wanted Angela to walk off.
But here's the thing. She thought she was going home. So, and that was the only piece of anything. That was the only piece of agency she had in this game, that information. And the fact that she didn't use it still doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm Angela and I'm sitting up on the block and I think that I am going home, I'm going to be like, look, here's the deal. When I was HOH week 1, Quinn came up to me and he told me that he has the power up. This is what it is. And if you keep me in this house, I will win HOH, and I am going to go after him and I'm going to expose him. Although that probably would backfire because of what Quinn's HOH is, or what his power is. But maybe you don't say what it is. Maybe you say, I know that Quinn has that power and he is my target. He is public enemy number 1 for me, and I'm coming for him. And I think it makes you, kind of appealing if you have an outright enemy. Like, hey, why do we want to vote out, Angela if she's going to go after Quinn? I don't have to go after Quinn then. So
unless Quinn is actually really well liked, and that just it wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's hard when you're Angela and you have had a fight with almost everybody in the house because of your personality. So I don't know. It's hard to say like what is the best strategic decision when we're talking about Angela.
So there was a clear blind side. It took Angela even while the credits are running, where she was shocked, breathing, couldn't catch her breath. She had no idea it was coming, and the thank yous. I have to say it's kind of awkward to watch because everybody's listening to her out of respect, but in their eyes, there's a we don't care what you're saying, lady.
Yeah, because, I think Chelsea summed it up perfectly when she had her DR where she was like, "Can we send both of
Both
them out? Like, is that an option?" And I think that is everyone's, opinion from last night is we want Lisa out, but we want Angela out almost as bad, like just a smidge less because we're less threatened by Angela, but we also want to send her out too.
So I guess I'm still a little perturbed that Big Brother gave us a really bad Thursday episode in the sense that, not in the blind set, in the sense that they edited a show that didn't give us the conclusion that we expected. It was like going to a tribal council and Survivor where we thought these two have the option of going and somebody completely different got going.
So you were blindsided too, basically. And
I had I thought it was an easy vote. I thought Angela was going. Like, at least if they would have given us out, the only evidence that we had that somebody wanted Lisa out was Tucker going around being, I want her out. But outside of that, everybody was talking to about Angela.
Well, I mean, they have even less time now adding in a third competition.
Yes.
To show us some of the strategic talks. So once again, like, maybe I'm not a fan of the AI arena because it just doesn't quite work. They need to like go back to the drawing board, tweak it a little bit, something.
Well, look, arguably, I think we could both agree they never planned for the AI arena to probably last more than 4 or 5, 6 weeks. Like, I doubt that we're going to have 3 people.
Sure, we're going to run out of people. We can't be putting 3 people up every week.
Right. So it's fine. It is my favorite version of having more than 2 people nominated ever. Yeah, but you're right. It is far from perfect. So we saw a blind side, but let's talk about this overall week for our good friend, my winner pick, Kevin's winner pick, your non-winner pick, Chelsea. How did her HOH reign go?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it was a successful week for her in that she basically had 2 pawn volunteers in Kenny and Angela, and then she gets a third pawn volunteer in Tucker, and she got out the person that she wanted to get out in Lisa. So very successful in terms of that. Like, nobody leaves mad at Chelsea. Maybe Angela's mad at her. I don't really know, but does it matter if Angela's mad at you? Angela's mad at everybody.
Well, it matters if you get put on the block. Like, that's the only place it matters. But the truth is, I think Chelsea. So I agree with you. I think she had an extremely successful HOH reign, not necessarily because of the tasks that she had to take on as HOH, but because she was already really well set up in the house. And I assume, although not seen on the show, she was able to solidify her relationships even more throughout the week.
Not necessarily. And that's where I think she maybe failed a little bit, because usually you see that very first HOH, like, set up the whole house structure of like, okay, I've got this one person that I'm going to ride with. And, we're going to create basically an onion alliance. And we're going to have, 3 people, we're going to add in 5, and we're going to have a 7. And we didn't get that with Angela. And so you kind of think, okay, Chelsea is really going to nail it down. Like, she is going to nail down her 3 with Cam and Cedric, and then work on this stuff with Quinn and Brooklyn, and, just really, really hammer it home. And she didn't. She kind of cruised for the week. And so I think that's where she misses a little bit, but I'm still very high on her.
But isn't that okay? Because, like, I don't know if you need an alliance of 7 or 8.
I don't know if you necessarily do, and I don't know if you necessarily do this season. Like, this season.
But that's the thing. Like, this is a very strange season where we do not have 2 sides of the house. Like, you clearly have this 5. You have the Pentagon. And in terms of your onion, you have your 3 within the Pentagon. By the way, you also have your 2 within the Pentagon.
Except that if your 2 outside people in Brooklyn and Quinn realize that they're the outside people,
and they realize
the Pentagon is on shaky ground. So, well,
except for the fact that so yes, but are you trying to suggest to me that she doesn't have other relationships in the house?
No, like, she does. She does.
Just like Quinn does, just like Brooklyn does, right? And maybe there was something that was made around, some goodwill that was made with not actually putting up Mackenzie and flushing the power out.
Well, I mean, you do have kind of.
I don't understand why she didn't put up Mackenzie and flush the power. And like, to me, I wonder if knowing that she has that power and actually giving Mackenzie grace allows for Mackenzie not to actually target her in the future. I'm not sure if the same can be said about the rest of the Pentagon, though, or the rest of Cam and Cedric.
Yeah. Mackenzie's kind of like getting this pass where people are kind of treating it like an immunity idol of like, okay, well, I don't want to touch Mackenzie because she's going to come down, and I don't want to touch Leah, her closest ally, because she's just going to come down. And so Leah and Mackenzie are kind of given like this 4-week immunity a little bit, where everybody's a little bit afraid to mess with them because of Mackenzie's power, which, that's great for Mackenzie. It's great for Leah in proxy, but I don't know. I mean, I guess if you Chelsea, she did like a B- as HOH. It was good, but it wasn't great. And so, but I don't know. Maybe we don't have a great player this season. Maybe we have a couple of good players.
Well, I don't know. I would probably give her more than a B-. I'd probably give her a B+, because I think.
Okay, Prof. Sheldon over here.
Yes. Shelly, please. I think that a good HOH also includes not screwing up, which we have seen so many times, including last week and in other seasons, how, especially at the beginning of a game, a bad HOH is the end of you. She did not have a bad HOH at all. She completely and totally, she coasted, but you know what? Maybe in 5 weeks when she wins again, she won't coast, and then we'll see her good HOH where she actually makes moves.
Yeah. So, in terms of like her nominees, I think she did the absolute right thing. Like, there is absolutely no reason to do anything crazy when you have all of these people volunteering and you have a clear house target of like nobody liked Lisa and they wanted her out. Like, easy breezy, you absolutely take those choices and you run with that. So from that aspect, she did really well. I just would have liked for her to maybe just shore up some things.
So overall, Ms. Kiley, what are your thoughts about this week so far? And then, I think we're going to go into some spoilers.
Okay. So I am going to still remain cautiously optimistic for this season. I have enjoyed the episodes. I am emerging as a Tucker stan because he is just fun to me. Like, he is fun playing Big Brother. Like, he's trying to do some things. He is a big pusher of like, get Mackenzie up on the block. We want to flush her power out. He's doing a lot of fun things. Do I think he's necessarily doing a great job? Absolutely not. But I'm having fun watching Tucker kind of try to figure out the game.
Yeah. For me, it has clearly been the Angela show. And whereas on a Survivor, we saw the Banu show where I was uncomfortable. This is the Angela show, and give me more. It's been a lot of fun. I do not mind it at all. It's been great. And I don't think I like Tucker as much as you do. But I don't despise him. He brings something interesting. I do, one of the issues with so much Angela time is I don't know anything about Cam. I feel very lost.
We know nothing about Cam, nothing about Rabina, very little about T-Core.
And we had a bit more T-Core, but
a little bit. But
there's a lot of house guests that I'm lost. I don't know what they're doing. Like, I don't know if Cam's playing or not. I don't know if Angela's playing. I don't know what's going on there. So now's the time where we are going to go straight into spoilers. So if you're listening, you're watching, if you don't want to hear what happened, turn off that stream, turn off your radio, your transistor AM, FM radio that you listen to podcasts on, because we're about to get into spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Kiley, you want to tell everybody who the HOH is?
It is Cedric, Mr. Downgrade himself. We saw the 2 downgraded players upgraded to HOH. So very good for the Cam, Cedric, Chelsea alliance, because this is another week where they can really nail down the house structure.
Well, I also think it's another week where the Pentagon actually could do something. So one of the things I really liked in this previous week that Chelsea did do is they had a 5-person meeting before nominations, and they all sat in a circle, and it did feel pretty nice and open and free flowing, and it looks like they were actually having a real discussion. So I did kind of like that. Maybe the decision was made before that meeting, but like it was nice to sort of see that. And I think that if Cedric does the same thing, we are great.
So here is where it gets interesting is I think that there are some outside forces that people are learning about. Like Cedric knows that Cam is very opposed to Leah going up on the block. And there is, because Cam and Leah are close. And so like that puts a little bit of wrinkle and stuff, because Chelsea has told Cedric that if Leah were to have won HOH, she would have come after you. But he doesn't want to put her on the block because of Cam. And then it's becoming well known to the house that Quinn, T-Core, and Chemo are a tight 3, and they're kind of looking for their, +1 or 2. And so there's some, there's some things happening, but then you have Angela who, tells Cedric, like, hey, I understand if you got to put me up on the block, like I'm expecting it. And then you have Kenny who literally wants to leave the game. And so we're in the spoiler section. Angela's nominated. Kenny's nominated, obviously. And guess what? Tucker is the nominee because he has volunteered once again. And so, like, Cedric also has a very, very easy week unless the fun thing happens. And because Kenny says he's not going to throw any comms. So if Kenny wins veto, he says that he just wouldn't use it.
So do we know at what point
can we stop casting Kennys on this show?
Are all Kennys bad?
Yes.
Bad Kenny.
Why?
There was a Kenny on Big Brother Canada.
Then leave. Walk out the door. Because as annoying as Lisa was, she didn't want to leave. So goodbye, Kenny. If you don't want to be there, then go. And they're saying like that he doesn't want to quit the show because he won't get the stipend. And apparently it's like $1,000. Boo-boo, we will start you a GoFundMe. Like, get out.
It's $1,000 per week, no?
I don't know. I don't think it's that
much.
Not
$1,000. I would not go into that house for $1,000 total. If you lost your mind and ruined my career, absolutely.
Well, I think it's maybe only like $1,000 pre-jury.
No,
it is not much.
Impossible. I don't buy it. Okay, Kylie. So those are our current spoilers. No powers have been used this week, as far as we know. We got Angela, Kenny, Tucker on the block, a Cedric HOH, Lisa sprinkling her powder, fairy powder somewhere else, and you and me sitting outside the Big Brother house, where we're watching the show. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet and you're watching this, please subscribe, because if you subscribe, we've got Golden Power of Veto that is signed by former Big Brother players, former POV winners. We're trying to give that thing away, so subscribe, get us up to 250 subscribers, and you will get that beautiful, shining, signed veto. Any final thoughts, Kylie?
No, I'm excited to see what the week brings, although I think it's going to probably be more of the same.
A lot.
And maybe I'm a little bit ready to turn the page off of the Angela show. I think I might be getting there.
Absolutely. So feel free to follow us at For the Fans Reality and Kylie directly at reality_TK. And you can follow me right here once or twice a week when we come and do the show. From Texas and from Toronto, my name is Sheldon. That's Kylie. You have yourself a real good weekend. Bye-bye.